coats, sweaters, clothes,
Hmm.
food. And I just want to start off by saying, like, that's amazing. Like, not many elementary schools do that, and not many principals of elementary schools allow their students to have access to those things, or just make it known that, like, hey, I'm going to help you because I know you're in need, but I also want to show you that you can help others. So
Hmm.
I guess that my first question would be, like, why do you believe as a principal that at such a young age, students should have access to the things that they need, and to show them that you need this, but you can also give to others?
You know, that's a great question, Sparrow. I think one of the things is, as a school like ours, we've always been community. You can record this if you need to, too.
Okay.
Okay. That way that you won't have to write a whole bunch down, or you can write less down.
All right. Let me. All right.
Okay. So I think that it's important that I know what families need. Like, as part of my role as the leader of the school was to make sure I knew the families and knew them well, so that if there was a problem, they wouldn't feel uncomfortable coming to me and saying, this is going on, so that we could find avenues to help. Whether it was, like you said, the coat drives or the food drives or blessings in a backpack, or Santa's Volunteers, where we got Christmas gifts and gift cards and things like that for families for the holidays. So I wanted it to be part of what we did as the norm. So certainly I didn't want anyone feeling less than because they needed help, but understanding that in our environment, it was something we wanted to do. And as good Christians, it's something we're expected to do. And then on the flip side, for all of the kids, I always felt it was important to understand, we did the animal shelter in our class. It was important to understand that even if you only have a little, or you don't think you have a lot, you have more than other people do. And as good people, it's our job to help others. And it's just part of good character. So that was why we did the dog, helping the animal rescue. We still help that animal rescue. And I think it's important that service learning and that kind of learning is a natural outreach, especially in a Catholic school, that you should be giving back to others, even if you're still receiving from in one way, because we have a grant right now, or we had an opportunity with Grow Greater Englewood, and we put the gardens in at school. So we've got 5 garden beds. The kids work in there and growing vegetables and things like that. And then we harvest it, and then the food's for the families. So it was a twofold thing, right? It was experiential learning for the kids, but solved the problem of being in a food desert and making sure we had fresh fruits and vegetables for our families. Right now it's a little bit of a nuisance because there's not a lot of people here, so I have to go out and do stuff in the garden, but it's always good to get outside.
Yes. I would definitely like to say thank you for the platform of, like, knowing to give back, because me and Marguerite, definitely when we went to De La Salle, it was definitely a thing of, like, the Catholic schools are, like, they are on top of their things with service in the community. So when we went to De La Salle, we had already had it placed in our head, like, we need to give, we need to give, we need to do this. So, like, things like service hours was, like, it was a breeze for us because we were used to giving so much to the community that we were just like, oh, like, this is nothing. Like, we did this in middle school. Whereas other people were just like, I got to do service hours. And we're like, yes, you don't want to do service hours? Like, it's kind of fun.
And
It's exciting.
it's such a good, and I hope you get this, and Marguerite has it. It's just such a good feeling when you do things for others for no other reason than it's the right thing to do, right? Like, you shouldn't, it's great if people give you accolades or, a letter thanking you for doing it, but it's really about just doing it because it's the right thing. And I think that is such an important skill for us to teach children in this building.
Yes. So being that you have given so many children a platform to go out and do great things, like teaching them how to give to the community and teaching them how to just help, what do you hope that they'll do with this knowledge? Like, what do you hope that they'll go into life and do other than be successful young people? What do you hope that they'll take into accountability when they go into life?
I think what I hope they'll take with them is that no matter where you are in your life, you probably can always do something for others. And that I always hope that instead of judging others for whatever situation or position others find themselves in, instead of being judgmental about that, find a way to be helpful and think that, it's easy to say, oh, they don't have it because they didn't do X, Y, Z, or they're bad people or this. Instead of thinking like that, saying, hey, they're down on their luck or something bad happened. Let me see what I can do to be a helper instead. It's not about condemning someone else. It's about what you as a human know is the right thing to do.
Yes. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. So
I think too that one of the things we've tried to do more since you've left is ask the kids what they want to do. Like, who do they want to give to? What do they think is important? And we had a program here with DePaul University last summer and into the fall. It was called like Future Catholic Teacher Leaders or something. But really it was about building leadership skills in our middle school kids. And they came up with different platforms of things or visions of things they wanted. Some were like right in the building, like they wanted a basketball team back, which we did. And they wanted a cooking club, which we did. But there were other things like we should do this so we can raise money for someone else. And then giving them, so if they had the idea, if they could bring it through to fruition, they could do it here. As long as it didn't necessarily make more work for me, I was happy to have them do it.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, especially like giving kids the option now to choose to do great things. Like I really appreciate that because a lot of people don't have that. So as you know, me and my group are focusing on Jaquil Jackson and the official project I Am. And being that ASBA is an elementary school and there's children no older than 14 there, I definitely like when I saw the pictures on Instagram, I was just like, oh my god, like he went to ASBA. Like I remember going there, I was like, that was so amazing. And then to hear his story that he started the organization when he was 8 and knowing already how great ASBA was with the community and service, I was just like, that's amazing. So I know that you did say that you didn't spend a huge amount of time with him, but can you briefly describe like how your experience was working with him, or just your thoughts on like what he's doing and how you feel about it?
All right, so I'll give you like the background of how it came to be, and then I'll talk about when I met Jaquil. So I was talking with our first grade teacher, Mrs. Thornton, about opportunities to make sure we had the supplies the kids needed, whether it was feminine products or toothpaste or hair or deodorant or things that the kids just needed. And some of those things are really expensive, but in a way that if they needed it, they could ask for it without feeling funny about asking for it. So I said, let me reach out to my high school friends. And that was Mr. Sherrigan, Mr. Rawls, Miss Kane, and then Miss Faison down at all Catholic school principals who I was in a group with. And I said, hey, I need some help with this. Do you have any groups that are doing this? Mr. Sherrigan wrote right back and said, hey, I've got this covered for you. So I've got this covered for you. I've got a great student here who's doing things in this area. I will take care of this. And you'll become part of our work that we do. So about a month and a half later, he came out with Jaquil. And I think I had 100 bags of supplies for our kids. And I met him, and then Mr. Sherrigan told me a little bit more about Jaquil while he was standing there, and Jaquil filled me in. And it blew my mind to know that an 8-year-old could understand the importance of what he was doing at that point in his time, right? Because I look at 8-year-olds in our building, I'm like, we got some work to do to get to where he is. Just understanding that an 8-year-old has power, right? And they may not ever feel it, but Jaquil's proof of that there's power in little people to make big changes. And even if that impact is to an elementary school of 100, or you're making sure you're giving out to the homeless, the people you're touching are huge. Let me shut the window.
Juice from I had the haircut, like the Juice cut, like Tupac, the one he had in the movie. I think World came from me spelling it wrong. I think I was making like an account on something, and I spelled it wrong because World was actually taking like the actual spelling. I took it as just for me like trying to take over the world and it being my world. Music has pretty much been a factor in my life, like my whole life, like low-key from like 2 years old on. My cousin told me he used to blast music around me, like Wu-Tang and shit, and I would just like rap the lyrics, like mumble the lyrics, not even knowing what I was saying, just kind of like mumbling like the cadence of the song. That's how I started. My junior year in high school, I was like, yo, this is like what I want to do. Like I used to like freestyle with my neighbors. They were like about to graduate high school, and I was like in junior high, keeping up with them. And at first, I used to want to be like Eminem or like Tyler the Creator. I used to say like wild ass shit to get people's attention and just try to come up with the most wildest punchlines and wordplay, trying to be as clever as possible. And then it kind of just became less of me trying to be a lyricist and more of me trying to be a musician and use more of the background that I have. A lot of people that are trying to, I guess, quote unquote, make rap music don't really embrace other genres like that, even though some of them claim to. Like, I really have like a big rock background. Anything from alternative to post-hardcore, like Black Sabbath, the Foo Fighters, Fall Out Boy, Senses Fail, Megadeth, Def Leppard, The Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, I mean, I always kind of like rock music, because I really like Guitar Hero and like all the old Tony Hawk games for like GameCube and stuff. In 5th grade, I still remember this. I had this crush on this girl. She was like real life emo as fuck. In like 5th grade though, you know? And she said something about like a group of music she listened to, and I knew about them because of Tony Hawk. I went home and literally listened to like all this shit just so I could have something to talk to her about like the next day. And I ended up liking it. So like, that's kind of how it all started. I kind of kept it tucked away, and then one day I just decided like, I'm gonna really make music my own way. And I use kind of my influences to, you know, add my own touch to it. Kind of me thinking like about all the relationship issues I had going on at the time, and just, you know how like, say you've had like a certain food and every time you've had it all your life it's been like spoiled or like rotten. You gonna think it tastes nasty every time, but it's that, you know, that could very well be false. So like same with
When did you start listening to Juice WRLD?
I started listening to Juice WRLD. I'm not even gonna lie, I listened to him after he passed away. I was going through a really bad time period in my life, and Juice WRLD music was kind of like an outlet for me.
What was the first Juice WRLD song you heard?
The first Juice WRLD song I heard was Lucid Dreams. But the first Juice WRLD song that I listened to on repeat is called Who Shot Cupid.
Why are you such a big Juice WRLD fan?
I am a really big Juice World fan because I feel like Juice World has a lot to offer in the sense of he is very versatile. He has tons of music that a lot has been leaked, and just the way his music healed me in that place, that bad place that I was in, it really just made me feel like really good. So whenever I'm sad, I could listen to him. Whenever I'm happy, I could listen to him. I can always use him to make me feel better in any situation that I'm in.
What makes Juice WRLD such an inspiration to you?
Juice WRLD is a big inspiration to me because when I felt like I couldn't express my feelings, I always felt like he could express them in ways that I couldn't even interpret. So when it comes to like everything, I just always feel like not even that he's an artist, but more of like an icon and a role model, which is a lot of something we don't see no more. Like when you see famous people, you don't really think of them in the same sense that you would think of a role model. Like Tupac, for example. He is both. Like, he's a lot.
Why do you think Juice WRLD has so many fans even after death?
I feel like Juice WRLD has so many fans even after everything that happened because he was just could relate to a lot of people in different ways, and he helped bring a lot of people together. Like he started a lot of group chats, like, hey, if you feeling this, do this, you know. And like his audience and his like fan base is really strong and really cares about him. Honestly, I went to his last concert and the arena was packed. This is the second year in a row that they did Juice WRLD Day, and everybody still supports him. And he has artists that look up to him, everything. Like,
what do you think Juice WRLD stood for?
I think Juice WRLD stood for just making a bad situation better. Like if you see on my shirt, it says 999. It says Juice WRLD. 999 for him was, he said if you reverse it, it's 666. So if you think like, oh, that's bad, like it's the devil number, reversing it is like him like bringing the light out of the situation, like anything bad. So like he says a lot of things that he's famous for is like into the abyss, and to him that's like this really bad dark place that like some people can't always get out of. So for me, it just means like, hey, it's like sometimes you feel like the world finna end, but no matter what, just get out of it. Like you can always do better.
What's your favorite Juice WRLD song?
My favorite Juice WRLD song that's released would have to be probably he just dropped the song called Nightcrawler, and it's with Trippie Redd. That's probably my favorite song released. And then unreleased probably would be, it's this song called Range with him and G Herbo.
Why are they your favorite songs?
They both like hype songs, but I like to like, I work out a lot, so like those are like some of the songs I will play on repeat while I'm working out, cause yeah, they just give me a lot of energy.
What is the first Juice WRLD lyric that comes to your head?
The first Juice WRLD lyric that comes to my head is a song he just released called The Light, and it's like, when it's dark outside, you're always the light.
If you met Juice WRLD before he died, what would you have said to him?
That's a great question. One thing that I would have said to him is just thank you for like everything that you've done for the world, and just I would have just told him to just be easier on himself, cause like obviously in his music you can tell like he was going through something, and I just felt like a lot of stuff that happened could have been prevented if he would have had better people around, more people that like really cared about him and what he was doing. So I would have just told him like, just be mindful of everything that you're doing, you know, because at the end of the day, you have a lot of people that like really care about you and really want you to be your best self. So like, cut out the pills, the drugs, all that. Like that's not important. What's important is that you really out here like making money, making your family happy. Just continue on that route, you know.
What are some things that Juice WRLD talks about in his songs that you can relate to?
He talks about just depression, addiction, being lost, being happy, feeling like he on top of the world.
What song would you show to a non-Juice WRLD fan and why?
A song that I would show to a non-Juice WRLD fan will probably have to be, it's this song called More Love, and it's unreleased. And I would probably show them that song because it just shows his versatility, and it shows like he can do a lot. Another song that I'll show is probably, it'll be the song called Sometimes. It was in his movie, his documentary, and I feel like that song just makes you think a lot about a lot of stuff, and it just shows like, hey, it's a lot of stuff that we all won't even know that we all do, but we all have it common. So yeah.
Why do you think Juice WRLD is still so popular even after he died?
I think he's so popular even after he died because, you know, not to say and not compare the two, but like think about Michael Jackson. He had music that was timeless. So, of course, people are always going to listen to him. And I think one thing that Juice WRLD did is that he showed his emotions a lot. And he was a rapper. Like, people like to say he was a rapper. That's not really something that you get from rap a lot. So when you have somebody who's singing on the tracks and like saying all the emotions, that's just one of a kind, timeless music. Like,
how did his death affect you?
His death like affected me because, like I was saying, I wasn't a super fan like I am now, but like people that I was around and like used to hang around and really listen to him, I just seen how sad they were. And just like even the fact that he was from Chicago, so like just it hit home. And like at airport, it was just a lot. So I was kind of just like, just really like, damn, it was just really sad.
Do you have any final questions and anything else you would like to say?
No, just thank you for listening to me, and yeah, I love Juice WRLD, so.
Hi, so my name is Jasmine, and I'm going to be interviewing my sister. What's your name?
My name is Shanti Smith.
And I'm going to be asking her a few questions about Juice WRLD and how he impacted her. So my first question to you is, how did his death affect you?
Well, honestly, it was really a big shock to me.
Okay, and how was it a shock to you? Like, how did you find out about it?
Well, what I really found out about it is on Instagram.
Okay, so Instagram. So when you seen it, what was your first thoughts?
I was like, this gotta be a lie.
So why do you think Juice WRLD is still so popular even after his death?
Because honestly, his music was really great.
So I hear you keep mentioning his music. So what are some favorite songs by him?
Well, Lucid Dreams and Girls Are the Same. Those was like my favorite top two.
So when did you first hear his music? Like, do you remember the day, how that day went, and where you were, and when you just first heard it?
Yeah. So what happened was, my friends that was on TikTok, and I just out of nowhere heard his song, and it was Lucid Dreams, and I was like, wow, that song is good. What's that song called? And they told me what the song is, and I started listening to it.
Okay. So what do you think Juice WRLD stood for? Like, what do you think he stood for?
What do you mean, like, stuff for?
Like, what message do you think he tried to put out to the youth?
That even though he came from a bad place, you could still do big things.
Right. So if you had a chance to meet Juice WRLD, how do you think it would go? Like, what would you tell him? What would you want to see? Like, how can you explain that to me?
I would probably tell him that you are a big inspiration to me. Like, we both came from the city of Chicago. He just really is a big inspiration, and he can really inspire a lot of people.
So what are some things that Juice WRLD talks about that speaks to you?
Well, about how he talked about mental health and how he was so real and raw about him also having mental health.
Okay. So I've seen a lot about how people
seen his performances. So how do you feel about his performances, and what did you like about his performances?
Well, although I never seen him in person, I have seen him on video, and he just
No, it's in high school. I'm from the Edgewater/Uptown area, and some things like I enjoy doing are like gaming. I like writing and reading. Reading is my favorite thing to do. Honestly, if I'm not doing anything, I'm usually reading. I have picked up like a new hobby to go out more, just like to experience like the city. Cause my friends really don't go out much because my dad is like usually working a lot. My mom just like stay home because she's like really sensitive to like the air and stuff, so she doesn't really go out much. So what I do is I like to go out to like museums, or I like to go to like parks and like amusement parks and stuff, and just like take pictures so I can send it to her because she likes experiencing it that way. And so I kind of picked up that hobby as well. Yeah.
So you're in your mom's eyes outside?
Yeah, basically. I'm
That's
just
nice.
I'm like my mom's eyes outside. Yeah. But other than that, I like watching movies as well. I try to go to like the movie theater like once in a while because it's like a better experience than like sitting at home and watching a movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like doing that alone too because it's just it's just like me and just the movie.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
It just feels good for me. Okay. Earlier you mentioned your funding issues, that you didn't have funding for your arts program, and so you had to do everything out of pocket.
Yeah.
So the question for that is, how do you navigate the challenges and obstacles that you face through your advocacy and awareness, and how do you what are some strategies that you employ to maintain what you do?
So the thing that I've seen that helps a lot is supporting the community. Like for example, my arts program, everything that's supply based is out of pocket, but the salary base for the employees, St. Agatha Catholic Church, well, not St. Agatha, St. Simon of Cyrene has been able to help me, and I'm thankful for that. So they've been helping part of the arts program, even though that we couldn't secure the funding, they have been able to help me, community based. And of course, outside funding, there it's not funding, but it's like donations. There's outside sources that help, like Jump Rope for Justice donated 4 pairs of shoes for youth in my program that really needed shoes. The MAD program, the MAD Arch program, they've donated some toys and some games, some chess pieces and chess boards, so we can play with the kids and teach them how to play chess. Again, it's a community effort, even though the program is here and we have unfortunately no funding, so our original plan wasn't able to be executed. The community has definitely came together to help out, and again, specifically St. Simon of Cyrene, who has been thankfully securing the salaries of the instructors that are taking part of the program, because we have a choreography instructor, we have a choir instructor, we have a theater and improv instructor, the Young Leaders of Tomorrow, which is another club that I like to highlight in the arts program, and our arts and crafts program, our social media literacy program. So clubs. So these are all clubs within this program. They definitely take a lot of supplies to make work, but it is very doable because of the community.
Yeah, so I saw on your Instagram page, like there was this, I think you're working with Build Chicago, like the organization. So can you talk a little more about what that work was?
So I was actually just invited to perform for Build and go as Almighty Blessing as an influencer. So they wanted me to go and perform at one of their events. They just had that event, which is the Orange event, which is the preventing violence. It's called the Orange event, but it's violence prevention. So they got together. The mayor was there. Aldermen were there. They were there to violence prevention, and me being a person actively in the street and having an influence in the community, they wanted me to come perform so I could show that I'm also in solidarity with violence prevention. My team, which is the Almighty Blessing team, we showed up and we showed out. People loved it. I don't walk alone. I walk with my team. My team's compromised with about 10 people. So my security, my manager, my agents, and my hype man. So it's literally a group of people. So when we walk as a group. So it looks like a little parade, And they like that. They like that people get involved, and I'm bringing people in. And it shows that there is still street organizations who are trying to do good. Like me, I am with the Almighty Warlords, which is a street organization. I don't call it a gang, I call it a street tribe, because the origin of these street tribes, again, through urban anthropology, you can teach that their origin was to help their communities and uplift their communities. It has just taken a bad turn up into recent years, and I'm trying my hardest with the group of people that are willing to listen, that we can make that change. And Build has definitely witnessed that, and they're like, hey, we like what you're doing, we like that you're empowering these young men and women who are gang affiliated and want to make a change and want to make a difference instead of hindering the community even further.
That's really good. So how do you utilize writing and photography into your work?
Well, I suck at taking pictures and writing, so I actually have, like I said, a team. So all the stuff that's involved with taking pictures, doing videography, and doing the journalist part of what I gotta do. I'm thankful for my team, the Almighty Blessing team. They've been very, very helpful in making that, facilitating that part of my career. I mean, peace in the world is something that we'll never get right fully, but if we could get as close as we can, and if we can stop these killings in the inner city, could be a good start, right? Those are my aspirations, to be able to at least make a difference in my generation and the generation before me. And hopefully it could start like a snowball effect or something, where wherever, activist work is truly never done, because there's people that have been before me and there's people that are going to be after me. So I just hope somebody picks the ball. when I drop it.
How can individuals in the community that you work in be able to support and contribute to like the causes that you support?
I tell people all the time, it doesn't take a lot to share a post, to comment, to show support in a way where you don't physically have to be here. I mean, I would love for people to get involved, to come to our events, to come to our gatherings, to come to our marches, for stuff that we do in the community. But if you can't, and you want to be part of that change, it's not that hard to give it a share on your social medias. Get more people to become aware of the situation, get more people to address the issues, so we can definitely make a change.
So, my last question. The organizations that you worked with, are there any that you would like recommend that people like get involved with? Like any specific that you think like are really good at supporting the causes that you're also supporting?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of organizations that are currently working, doing great work in the community, and individuals who are not attached to an organization, but they're individuals making a change. For example, the New School TNS, they have a great journalism program, they have a great broadcasting program, a great social media program, and the youth is all black and brown from the inner city. It's hidden behind this church where it's like a gem hidden that people don't know, that people need to hear and see. These young boys and girls are creating a newspaper where it's informing their community. They're becoming voices for the neighborhood that they're part of, and the New School needs to be highlighted for that. Now, the Dream Builders, a different organization here within the community that is helping to mentor people who have any type of need in the community, because we have so much lack of resources. It is almost impossible to pinpoint everything, but there's just, like the Dream Builders say, you dream it, we make it happen. And it's true, they have been up to their word. I see them helping the seniors in the community all the time, getting them involved. The Princess, another individual who's helping seniors, there was just a flood in Chicago. A lot of the seniors that are homeowners, their basements flooded, all their stuff was ruined. Nobody's gonna fix that. Nobody's gonna get rid of the water. Nobody's gonna go in there and take out their items that are no longer working. We have partnered with Princess, the Almighty Blessing Arts Program, to go and facilitate the elderly. We're not asking for money, none of that. We're literally going and getting these young men and women to go in those basements and remove these items for these older people, so they don't have to worry about. There's one less thing for them to worry about. Another organization that's working here, Jump Rope for Justice, is a black-owned business. She's great. She teaches young black girls in the community how to do double dutch and how to do jump ropes. She's empowering young women. There's a lot of trauma involved with these young girls in the community, so it's good to see somebody empowering them, just like how you guys do it. It's a great thing that she's doing. But there's a lot of people that I could be here for like 3 hours. Like the Little Village Community Council in my community, they get no funding from nobody, and they're still out there doing activist work. They're still out there adamantly trying to make a change. T'Challa, Graciela, who is also from the council, is actively doing activist work with the community, making sure the immigrants are getting what they need, like soaps, hygiene products, woman. I don't know how to say women hygiene products. That's a thing that's very needed, and we really don't think about that when there's asylum seekers that are coming over. There's a lot of young girls in those asylum seekers who need those hygiene products, and the council has been very adamant in helping, and at least helping in that way, even though they don't have the funding. What is upsetting to me is that there's all these great people, even Wintrust Bank on Ogden, that branch specifically, is actively grassroots, boots on the ground, always coming to our events, always giving people financial literacy that we need in our community that we don't get. There is no financial literacy club. There's no financial literacy program kids can take in our community. Wintrust is coming out here and giving it to us. Our program, when we first started, they came and gave us a class for free. They gave it to the new school. They give it to all these organizations that are grassroots organizations that need it. But see, it takes a village, but then again, the village doesn't have the resources. Where are these resources going? Who's getting these resources? Who's getting this money, this funding? The funding never gets to these organizations, and somehow we still make it happen. You know, I can tell you about a multi-million-dollar summer program in the west side of Chicago where they have less kids than I have, and I'm making it happen with a couple of dollars. That should tell you where's the funding going, who the funding's going to, and who's really using it for the community. Where's all this funding going? That's another thing I want to highlight. Like, you know, highlight the organizations that are really doing something. When there is nothing to give, they make something happen. Rather than organizations who have multi-million dollars are doing the bare minimum and cutting themselves $120,000 yearly check, and we're still here. And the kids are still struggling, the adults are still hurting, there's still trauma in our communities, and we still need to make difference. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking about.
Things that you would like to add?
Other than my outlets, I would like to say I truly appreciate your organization. I appreciate what you ladies are doing for the young girls in our community. I feel like that's very empowering. And best believe I will be marketing your organization and my social medias, because I know a lot of girls who need this organization, and they need this guidance that is. Where have y'all been? I'm not in a disrespectful way, but where y'all been all my life, you know? I need y'all here, you know? And that's what I'm talking about. Organizations like this that really want to come and make a difference. Like you're a young girl making a difference. You know, you're here interviewing organizations or individuals like myself, and you're making a change. And you might not see it now, but you are the voice for those voices who are screaming for help. And I appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much.